Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Chief Meteorologist coming to you guys live in the studio. We are currently looking at the active threat in Mississippi right now as we continue throughout this timeline. I'll keep this around here somewhere. Currently, right now, over where the current radar is located, we can get a slight view of what's going on down the line over here. It does detect these points here, but it's not an accurate reading as we are not connected to the local radar for this. So as we connect over here to the local radar, we're going to zoom in. And while this loads, this may take a moment for you guys to see it. It takes up a little bit of space from my operation to load up onto the screen. But once it is loaded, we will give you guys a detailed picture of what is currently going on the west side of North Mississippi. North Mississippi is currently covered in these multiple points of special weather statements and more that are following as the southwest of Mississippi to northwest is what we're currently looking at. So while we're looking at the scans right now, near Oxford, you guys have a cell which has that definite potential. We're going to zoom out a little bit here. Oh, I did not want to pull that up. Oh, my thing's having a... There we go. Alright. So it's 40 mile per hour wind gusts with 0.25 hail index. It's going to take you guys a minute to get over here, like I said. Now, towards Oxford, we do have storm spotters which are activated in that area, and it does look like we do have a point of hail here, which is showing a hail signature, which may be of a little bit concern on that behalf in the Oxford area. Now, as we move towards Mississippi in the Arkansas area, we do have a special weather statement which is set to expire here in 15 minutes, 14 almost, which is moving at 29 miles per hour to northeast or 62 degrees. Max wind gusts 40 miles per hour, which cover that big area down there. So this big significant area is what we are going to be a little bit concerned. Shut up. Alright, 1 second. There we go. And you can see we do have a local storm report by JAN, so the Southern Mississippi Weather Office Mesonet have observed a remark of storm wind gusts up to, I believe, 50 miles per hour, somewhere along those lines, near the Arkansas state border. Towards Columbus, so just below our area for Memphis, which is going to be the Jackson Weather Office, there's a special weather statement issued for 50 mile per hour wind gusts, no hail threat at this time, even though there's a hail signature, actually a few of them, which have dociled over that area. Towards the Amory area, there's a small, very, very, very small hail signature, which does advise there. So as we move to the north towards Tennessee, there's that little cell there that might head that way and may blow up a little bit. Currently, right now, towards the Oxford area is where this main concern is going to withhold for this. Now, as we go into our storm relative velocity, which is going to be basically how we see what the rotation spectrum are, there is a slight worry here about this, but I do not believe this is rotation as of right now, based on that. This cell is definitely showing the signature here for it, but I do not believe it'll be there in that amount of time. If you guys are in Como, you guys have a few minutes for it hit you. Yeah. So I'm going to go into this mode, so we're not getting all this pop-up on my screen. You can see the multitude of areas which that green does represent, and for those who know weather pretty well, that's generally your rotation spectrum, your velocity spectrum, which shows you that area of which rotation may be at. Now, I'm going to move over to CC just to check that. Does not look like there's anything there. Our PHI, okay. So, we're going to go ahead and look at a probability of severe hail real quick, which is going to take a minute to load, as this is a difficult one to load up. There we go. Alright, so currently right now, there was a signature I just saw and disappeared on me, that on this cell there's an 80% probability of with a 10% severe hail probability. Currently over Crenshaw there is a I don't think that's correct. Interesting. I believe it's supposed to be moved over more, but you get the gist. There's some severe hail definitely in that area, which we will be watching very shortly. That may be, of course, in our general region, which we need to be on the lookout for. Now we're going to move over to KGWX, which is going to be the radar site which we generally operate off of to provide the best coverage in the northeast sector, as it provides a greater detail, as most of the storms go right over it. So as you can see here, over Amory, Aberdeen, Smithville, Shannon, Okolona, and Tupelo, there is a good amount of rain. It doesn't look like there's really anything to be concerned over, as this is just a small cell. Well, not really small, but it definitely does not look like it's going to be covering anything of importance over that spectrum. And you can see that if we just zoom out, you can just see all the yellow and red here. That's just everything going on. Now, it's going to be harder to see as it gets closer to the radar site, as it will be more difficult to familiarize with. Now, if we move up to Oxford, Oxford is under a flood advisory. The flood advisory covers this as it was Doppler radar indicated due to heavy rain and thunderstorms. Cause small stream flooding. 1.5 inches of rain have fallen in the past hour. Some locations may be flooded. Minor flooding to low-lying or poor drainage areas is definite. Now, if we move back up here to the Memphis radar, or KNQA for those who have Lake Radar, Omega Radar Scope, or this exact software, WSV3, we're going to move down here right below Memphis, where this was popping a mezzo, and I understand why it was. That little red point there, which is most likely a gust of wind that moved it up to that point. Now, there is a severe weather statement ahead of it for 0.25 hail and that continuum up towards that point. There is a 10% chance of severe hail of 0.75, which is it's pretty extreme in my opinion. Now, if we go to our gate-to-gate shear, so it's basically how your storms generate the tornadic possibilities, generally how your shear works. Generally, what you want to look at is your downdraft and your gate-to-gate shear. We're going to look at our gate-to-gate shear real quick, and then we're also going to look at our gust potentials, which is downdraft, basically. And you can see all this is downdraft, all this right here, which is where we're going to be in that concern spectrum of concern. Alright, we're going to look at our wind shear over this one. So now, as you guys can see here, that blue and the red kind of fused together like that, and I'm a little concerned over that altogether. And we're going to look at our storm relative velocity that will provide our... That's concerning just a tad. So what y'all just saw, this area right here, let me go ahead and grab my spatial tools, which is how I'm going to give you guys a proper thing. Actually, I want to grab my telestration tools. So as you can see, right there is where our main concern is going to be over as of right now. Okay, let me check my settings real quick. So this right there, let's let this load real quick, is where my concern mainly lies, as this is more of a concerning spectrum to look at with this. And then you do have right there, which is a little concerning in my opinion. So as we follow along that point there, it's where we're going to be hitting our main spectrum. And as this gets closer to the radar, we're getting a better reading one by one. And we're going to go ahead and read what this is saying.